The red star burned weak and dying in the darkness. Around it, Kepler Station floated like a metal flower with its 6 spinning arms. Inside those arms, 50,000 Zelathi lived and worked. They dug precious metals from the asteroids. They had families. They had hopes. Now they had only fear. Admiral Kethra stood on the command deck. Her 4 arms moved quickly over the control panels. Her large black eyes watched the screens that showed death coming closer. The hive swarm surrounded them. Hundreds of bioships moved like angry insects. Each ship was alive. Each ship wanted to kill. Shield strength at 30%, called Officer Vexney. His voice shook. He was young. Too young for this. Kethra's main arms never stopped moving. Her smaller arms touched the communication device. All ships maintain defensive positions. Do not break formation. But there were only 12 Zelathi ships left. They had started with 40. The bioships had torn through them like paper. The hive did not care about losses. They had thousands more ships. The hive cared only about consuming everything in their path. Another explosion shook the station. The lights went out for a moment. When they came back, Kethra saw the fear in her crew's faces. They all knew the truth. They were going to die here. "Ma'am, the outer ring is breached," reported the defense coordinator. "Hive acid spitters have melted through sections 12 through 15. We're venting atmosphere." Kethra closed her eyes for 1 second. The outer ring held 30,000 civilians. Families with children, old people who had worked the mines for decades. Artists and teachers and engineers. All of them were now in danger. Emergency bulkheads? Sealed, but they won't hold long. The acid keeps eating through the metal. On the main screen, Kethra watched refugee ships try to escape. Small civilian vessels fled toward empty space, but the bioships caught them easily. The hive ships wrapped around the refugee vessels like snakes. Then came the bright flash of destruction. Kethra had been a soldier for 60 years. She had fought in 3 wars. She had seen friends die. She had killed enemies. But this was different. This was not war. This was extinction. Communications, send another distress call. All frequencies. All languages. "Ma'am, we've been sending calls for 6 hours. No one is coming. Send it anyway." The young officer nodded. His fingers worked the controls. The same message went out into space again. "Help us, we are dying. Please, someone help us," but Kethra knew the truth. They were too far from home. The main Zelathi fleet fought the hive near the capital worlds. No ships could reach Kepler Station in time. The nearest allied species was weeks away. The humans existed only in rumors and old stories. Most people said they were myths. Another bioship slammed into the station's hull. The impact threw everyone sideways. Sparks flew from broken panels. The smell of burning metal filled the air. "Shield generators 3 and 7 are offline," reported the chief engineer. "We're down to 18% shield strength." Kethra looked at the tactical display. The bioships moved in perfect coordination. They were not many ships with different captains. They were one mind controlling many bodies. The hive mind could think faster than any individual. It could plan better than any general. It had been consuming worlds for 1,000 years. "Ma'am, should we prepare for boarding?" asked Officer Vexney. The question hung in the air. Everyone knew what happened when the hive boarded a station. They did not just kill. They consumed. They took the knowledge from living brains. They added new voices to their collective consciousness. Death was not the worst thing that could happen here. "Not yet," Kethra said. "We fight until the last moment." She meant it. The Zelathi were a proud people. They did not surrender easily. But pride would not stop acid from eating through their walls. Pride would not save the children in the civilian sectors. The communication officer suddenly straightened. "Ma'am, I'm getting something strange. Another ship requesting safe passage?" "No, ma'am. It's a response to our distress call. But it's coming from the void sectors." Kethra turned all 4 of her eyes toward him. The void sectors were empty space beyond the galactic rim. Nothing lived there. Nothing could live there. The stars were too far apart. There were no planets, no resources, no reason for anyone to go there. "Are you certain?" "Yes, ma'am. The signal is weak but clear. Someone is trying to translate our language. The computer is working on it now." Hope flickered in Kethra's chest, but she pushed it down. Hope was dangerous. Hope made soldiers careless. But she could not stop herself from asking, "What do they say?" "The translation is rough, ma'am. But I think it says, 'We hear you. We are coming.'" "Hold on." Silence filled the command center. Everyone stared at the communication officer. Who could be coming from the void? What species traveled in empty space? How long until they arrive? Kethra asked. I don't know, ma'am. They didn't say. The signal is already fading. Another explosion rocked the station. This time the lights stayed off longer. When they came back, half the control panels were dead. The chief engineer ran from station to station, trying to fix what could be fixed. Shield strength at 8%, he called out. I can't fix them faster than the hive can break them. Kethra made the hardest decision of her life. Begin evacuation of the civilian sectors. All non-essential personnel to the escape pods. Ma'am, the bioships will just hunt them down. Some might escape. We have to try. She watched the tactical display as small escape pods began launching from the station. Most of them made it only a few kilometers before bioships caught them. But some managed to hide behind asteroids. A few even reached the edge of the system. The hive was playing with them. The alien collective mind enjoyed the hunt. It could have destroyed the station hours ago. Instead, it let them suffer. It let them hope. It fed on their fear. Ma'am, massive bioship formation incoming. They're preparing for the final assault. Kethra looked at the screen. Hundreds of hive ships moved into attack position. Each one was the size of a city. Their organic hulls pulsed with alien life. Acid dripped from their weapon ports like saliva from hungry mouths. All hands, prepare for final defense, she announced over the station communication system. It has been an honor to serve with you all. The bioships began their attack run. Acid streams lashed out like green lightning. The station's last shields flickered and died. Metal began to melt. The hull cracked open like an egg. Kethra closed her eyes and thought of home. She thought of the blue seas of Zalith Prime. She thought of her sister's children, safe in the capital city. At least they would live. At least the hive would not take everything. Then Officer Vexney screamed. Kethra opened her eyes. On the main screen, something impossible was happening. A ship was dropping out of hyperspace. But not just any ship. This vessel was huge, angular, and completely unknown. It appeared right in the middle of the hive formation, as if it had materialized from nothing. Ma'am, I'm reading massive energy signatures. This ship, it's not like anything in our databases. The unknown vessel opened fire. Bright beams of energy cut through bioships like swords through flesh. Explosions bloomed in the darkness. The hive ships, so confident moments before, began to scatter. Who are they? Whispered Officer Vexney. Kethra stared at the screen. Hope, dangerous hope, began to grow in her chest again. Someone had answered their call. Someone had come from the void to help them. I don't know, she said, but they're fighting the hive and they're winning. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the navigation room of the battleship Indomitable Will. Stars moved past the windows in long lines of light. They were traveling fast through hyperspace, heading home after 3 months of deep space patrol. The crew was tired. Everyone wanted to see Earth again. Captain, we're picking up something strange, said Lieutenant Rodriguez from the communication station. His dark face looked puzzled. It's not one of our frequencies. Sarah walked over to his station. Charts and star maps covered the walls around them. Earth was still 2 weeks away, but they were in empty space now. No human colonies existed out here. No human ships should be transmitting anything. What kind of signal? She asked. It's weak, ma'am. Coming from the galactic rim. The computer says it's some kind of language, but not human. Sarah felt her heart beat faster. First contact protocols existed, but no human had ever met an alien species. Earth's colonies were young and small. Humanity had only been traveling between stars for 50 years. They had always been alone. Put it through the translation computer. Let's see what we can make of it. The computer worked for several minutes. It compared sounds and patterns. It looked for mathematical relationships. Slowly, words began to appear on the screen. The translation was rough and broken, but the meaning was clear. Help us, dying. 50,000. Please, someone. Sarah read the message 3 times. Her hands grew cold. Somewhere out there, people were in trouble. They were asking for help. They probably did not even know humans existed, but they were sending their message into the darkness anyway. Ma'am, should I report this to Earth Command? Asked Rodriguez. That was the proper procedure. Earth Command would study the message. They would form committees. They would debate what to do. By the time they made a decision, weeks would pass. Maybe months. Sarah looked at the message again. The aliens had said they were dying. They had said 50,000 people needed help. How long did they have? Rodriguez, can you get a location on that signal? Working on it now, ma'am. His fingers moved over the controls. Got it. The signal is coming from a system near the galactic rim. About 4 days away if we push the engines hard. 4 days. Sarah thought about 50,000 people dying while she flew home to report the message. She thought about how she would feel if Earth was under attack, and their distress call went unanswered because someone followed proper procedure. Ma'am? Rodriguez was waiting for orders. Sarah made her decision. Set course for the signal source. Maximum speed. Ma'am, that will take us further from Earth. We should report this first. We'll report it later. Right now, people need help. Rodriguez looked uncertain, but he began entering the new course. Sarah walked to the ship's communication system and opened a channel to the entire crew. This is the captain. We have received a distress call from an unknown alien species. They are under attack and requesting assistance. I am changing our course to respond to their call. All departments prepare for possible combat operations. She closed the channel and waited. Within minutes, her senior officers arrived in the navigation room. Commander Harrison, her second-in-command, looked worried. Chief Engineer Martinez shook her head. Medical Officer Dr. Park seemed excited and nervous at the same time. Captain, we don't know anything about these aliens, said Commander Harrison. This could be a trap. It could be some kind of test. It could be, Sarah agreed. But what if it's not? What if 50,000 people are dying while we debate? We have no idea what we're flying into, said Martinez. Their technology could be completely different from ours. Our weapons might not work. Our shields might be useless, Dr. Park spoke up. But think about what this means. First contact with an alien species. We could learn so much. We could make friends with another civilization. We could also start a war, Harrison pointed out. Earth Command should handle this. Sarah understood their concerns. She had the same worries. But she also remembered her training at the academy. The instructors had taught them about honor and duty. They had said that sometimes a captain had to make hard choices without waiting for orders. I understand your concerns, she said. But I've made my decision. We're going to help them. Captain, what if they're hostile? Asked Harrison. Then we'll deal with that when it happens. But I won't let people die just because I'm afraid. The senior officers looked at each other. They had served with Sarah for 2 years. They knew she was a good captain. She had never led them wrong before. What do you need from us? Asked Martinez. I need the engines running at maximum power for 4 days. Can you do that? I'll make it work. Dr. Park, prepare the medical bay for casualties. We don't know what these aliens look like, but injured people are injured people. Yes, ma'am. I'll get ready for anything. Harrison, I need all weapon systems checked and ready. If these aliens are under attack, we might be flying into a battle. Already on it, Captain. Sarah felt proud of her crew. They had doubts, but they trusted her. They would follow her into the unknown because they believed in what they were doing. Over the next 4 days, the indomitable Will pushed through hyperspace faster than she had ever traveled before. The engines strained against their limits. The hull vibrated with stress, but Martinez kept everything running. Dr. Park spent her time studying the alien message. She worked with the linguistics computer to understand more of their language. She learned that the aliens called themselves Zelathi. They had 4 arms and large eyes. They lived on space stations and mined asteroids. Harrison drilled the crew on combat procedures. They practiced shooting at targets. They ran emergency drills. They prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. Sarah spent most of her time on the bridge watching the stars and thinking. She wondered what the aliens looked like. She wondered what was attacking them. She wondered if she was making a terrible mistake. But every time doubt crept into her mind, she remembered the message. Help us, dying, 50,000. Please, someone. Those words could have been sent from Earth. They could have been sent by humans under attack. The language was different, but the meaning was universal. When people were dying, when children were in danger, when families faced extinction, species did not matter. Only help mattered. On the 4th day, they reached the alien system. The computer dropped them out of hyperspace at the edge of the star system. Immediately, the sensors began picking up signals. Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures, reported the sensor officer. There's a battle going on near the inner planets. What kind of ships? Unknown designs, ma'am. But there are hundreds of them, and they're all fighting around what looks like a space station. Sarah looked at the tactical display. The space station was huge, much larger than anything humans had built. Around it, swarms of strange ships moved in complex patterns. Some of the ships looked like machines. Others looked almost alive. Ma'am, I'm picking up the same distress signal. It's coming from the space station. Sarah nodded. The aliens were still alive. They were still fighting. But they were outnumbered and losing. All hands battle stations, she announced. We're going in. Captain, there are hundreds of enemy ships, said Harrison. We're just one battleship, Sarah smiled grimly. Then we'd better make it count. Helm, take us into the battle. Maximum speed. The indomitable Will turned toward the fighting. Her engines roared to life. Her weapons powered up. Her shields strengthened. Sarah thought about the human motto that hung in her cabin. No one fights alone. Today, 50,000 aliens would learn that humans meant what they said. The unknown ships ahead of them looked dangerous. They moved like a swarm of insects. But Sarah was not afraid. She had good people with her. She had good weapons. Most importantly, she had a good reason to fight. This is Captain Chen to all stations. Today we make first contact. Today we show the galaxy who humans are. Today we prove that when someone calls for help, we answer. The indomitable Will dropped out of hyperspace like an arrow shot from the darkness. Admiral Kethra watched on her screens as the unknown ship appeared in the middle of the hive formation. The vessel was massive, bigger than any Zalathi battleship. Its hull was gray metal with sharp angles. Strange lights ran along its sides in patterns she had never seen. What is that thing? Whispered Officer Vexney. Before anyone could answer, the unknown ship opened fire. Bright beams of energy cut through the nearest bioships. The hive vessels, which had seemed unstoppable moments before, exploded into pieces. Green blood and torn flesh scattered into space. Ma'am, I'm reading massive energy outputs, reported the sensor officer. Their weapons are using some kind of kinetic acceleration system. And those energy beams, I've never seen anything like them. Kethra watched in amazement as the strange ship carved through the hive formation. It moved fast, faster than any ship its size should be able to move. Its weapons fired continuously without overheating. Every shot hit its target. But the most shocking thing was what happened next. Instead of staying at a safe distance like any sensible captain would do, the unknown ship turned and charged straight into the thickest part of the hive swarm. Are they insane? Asked Vexney. The ship slammed into a cluster of bioships with its shields blazing. The impact sent hive vessels spinning away like leaves in a storm. Some of them exploded on contact. Others were torn apart by the strange ship's hull. They're ramming them, said the tactical officer in disbelief. They're actually using their ship as a weapon. Kethra had been a warrior for 60 years. She had seen brave acts and foolish ones, but she had never seen anyone deliberately crash their ship into enemy vessels as a battle tactic. It was either the most brilliant strategy she had ever witnessed, or the most stupid. Then she saw the results, and she realized it was brilliant. The hive ships were used to fighting enemies who kept their distance. They were designed to swarm and surround slower targets. But this unknown ship was not following their rules. It was fighting like a predator that feared nothing. Small objects began launching from the strange ship. At first, Kethra thought they were escape pods. Then she realized they were weapons. Hundreds of small drones swarmed out and attacked the bioships from all directions. Ma'am, those drones are working together, said the sensor officer. They're coordinating their attacks like a single mind. But these drones were different from the hive. The bioships moved with cold efficiency. These new drones moved with purpose and anger. They seemed to enjoy the fight. One of the largest bioships turned toward the unknown vessel. It was a command ship, twice the size of any other hive vessel. Its mouth opened to reveal rows of acid-spitting weapons. Green death poured out toward the strange ship. The unknown vessel's shields flared bright blue. The acid struck the shields and scattered like rain on glass. Then the strange ship returned fire with something that made Kethra gasp. It was a projectile weapon, but not like anything she knew. A chunk of metal the size of a small building shot out at incredible speed. It punched through the bioship's hull like it was made of paper. The command ship folded in on itself and died. What kind of weapon was that? Asked Vexney. I think it was just a piece of metal, said the sensor officer, but moving so fast that it hit with the force of a nuclear bomb. Kethra understood. These unknown warriors did not need exotic energy weapons or complex technology. They could turn simple things into devastating weapons through pure physics. It was elegant and terrifying at the same time. The communication console suddenly came alive. The unknown ship was trying to contact them. The translation computer worked frantically to decode the message. This is Captain Chen, human ship. Are you receiving? Human. Kethra had heard that word in old stories. Legends spoke of a species from the far rim that fought like demons and protected the innocent. Most scholars thought they were myths, but here they were, real and fighting for strangers. Open a channel, Kethra ordered. Use the mathematical translation protocol. She spoke slowly into the communicator, using simple concepts that any space-traveling species would understand. Numbers, physics, basic ideas about time and distance. We are Zalathi. You are helping us. We grateful. The response came back quickly. The human captain's voice was strong and clear, even through the translation system. We heard your call for help. We fight together now. Can you coordinate defense? Coordinate defense? Kethra almost laughed. Her 12 ships against hundreds of bioships, but as she watched the human vessel tear through another formation of hive ships, she realized they might actually have a chance. Yes. We coordinate. What do you need? Protect the station. We will draw them away. Kethra watched as the human ship began moving in a strange pattern. It was leading the bioships away from Kepler Station, making itself the primary target. The hive swarm followed, desperate to destroy this new threat. But that was exactly what the humans wanted. As the bioships chased their battleship, they left the station more lightly defended. Kethra saw the opportunity immediately. All Zalathi ships attack pattern Delta, hit their flanks while they're distracted. Her small fleet moved into position. Their weapons were not as powerful as the humans, but they were precise. They struck at the bioships' weak points, the soft spots where acid weapons connected to main hulls. The battle became a deadly dance. The human ship would charge into a group of bioships, smashing and shooting until they scattered. Then the Zalathi ships would pick off the wounded ones. The bioships tried to swarm both forces, but they could not coordinate against two completely different fighting styles. Kethra noticed something strange about the human ship. Even while fighting for its life, it was launching small objects toward Kepler Station. At first she thought they were missiles. Then she realized what they really were. "Ma'am, those are rescue pods," said the sensor officer in amazement. "The human ship is launching rescue pods while still in combat." She was right. The humans were not just fighting the hive. They were also evacuating civilians from the damaged parts of Kepler Station. While their main ship battled hundreds of enemies, they were sending rescue craft to save Zalathi families they had never met. "They're insane," said Vexney. But his voice held admiration now instead of disbelief. Kethra understood. This was not insanity. This was something else. This was what real warriors looked like. Not soldiers who fought for territory or resources, but people who fought because it was the right thing to do. The human ship took a direct hit from 3 bioships at once. Its shields flickered and went down for a moment. Kethra saw atmosphere venting from its hull. "Human ship, you are damaged. Fall back for repairs." The response came immediately. "Negative." "Still operational. Continuing mission." The ship's shields came back online, weaker than before but still functioning. The humans kept fighting. They kept launching rescue pods. They kept putting themselves between the hive and the station. More bioships arrived from deep space. The hive was calling in reinforcements. Soon there would be 1,000 enemy ships in the system. Even the incredible human vessel could not fight that many. But Kethra noticed something. The bioships were not coordinating as well as before. The humans had killed several command ships, and the hive's perfect unity was breaking down. Individual bioships were making mistakes, flying into each other, firing at the wrong targets. "All ships concentrate fire on the large bioships," she ordered. "The humans have shown us their weak point. Kill the commanders and the rest will fall apart." The battle raged for 2 more hours. Bioships died by the dozens, but more kept coming. The human ship was taking terrible damage, but it never stopped fighting, never stopped rescuing civilians, never stopped standing between the hive and 50,000 innocent lives. Finally, the remaining bioships began to retreat. They had lost too many command vessels. Their coordination was broken. The hive mind was pulling them back to regroup. Kethra watched them go and felt something she had not felt in years. Victory. Not just survival, but actual victory against the hive. And they owed it all to a species they had never heard of until today. She looked at the human ship on her screen. It was badly damaged, pieces of hull floating away into space, but it was still operational. Still sending rescue pods to the station. "Human ship, this is Admiral Kethra. You saved us.
All of us, why?
The answer came back without hesitation. Because you asked for help. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Indomitable Will, watching damage reports scroll across her screens. Half of her ship's hull was cracked. 3 of her main engines were offline. Her shields were running on backup power, but they were alive, and the Zalathi were alive, and that was what mattered. Captain, we're getting a clearer signal from the station, said Lieutenant Rodriguez. Their translation computer is getting better at our language. Put them through. The voice that came through the speakers was unlike anything Sarah had ever heard. It was musical, with strange harmonics that suggested the speaker had more than one voice box. But the words were clear now. Human Captain Chen, this is Admiral Kethra. We wish to understand. Why did you come? We are strangers to you. Sarah thought about how to answer. How could she explain something that seemed obvious to her? We heard you calling for help. People were in danger. But we are not your people. We are not human. That doesn't matter. There was a long pause. Sarah could imagine the alien admiral trying to understand this concept. Most species in the galaxy seemed to care only about their own kind. Humans were different, though Sarah had never really thought about it before. We would like to learn more about humans, said Admiral Kethra. May we send a shuttle to meet you? Of course. We'd like to meet you too. An hour later, Sarah stood in the docking bay as a strange shuttle connected to her ship. The airlock opened and the first alien she had ever seen stepped aboard the Indomitable Will. Admiral Kethra was beautiful in an alien way. She stood 7 feet tall with 4 arms and large black eyes that seemed to see everything. Her skin was pale blue with silver markings. She wore a uniform that looked both practical and elegant. Behind her came 2 other Zalathi officers. They looked around the docking bay with obvious curiosity, their eyes taking in every detail of human technology. Welcome aboard, Sarah said, hoping her universal translator was working properly. Admiral Kethra approached and performed what was clearly a formal greeting, all 4 arms moving in a complex pattern. The honor is ours, Captain Chen. You saved 50,000 lives today. We couldn't have done it without your help, Sarah replied. Your ships fought bravely. They walked to the conference room where Sarah's senior officers waited. The humans and Zalathi studied each other with fascination, 2 species meeting for the first time, united by battle. We must understand your tactics, said Admiral Kethra as they sat down. You fought the Hive unlike any species we have seen. You used your ship as a weapon. You launched drones that fought independently. How is this possible? Commander Harrison leaned forward. We call it adaptive warfare. We don't follow their rules. If the enemy expects us to keep our distance, we charge. If they expect us to fight alone, we coordinate. If they expect us to value our ships over lives, we ram them. One of the Zalathi officers, who had been introduced as tactical coordinator Zexal, shook his head. But you could have lost your ship. You could have died. Ships can be replaced, Sarah said simply. Lives cannot. Admiral Kethra's large eyes fixed on Sarah. Even alien lives? Lives of people you had never met? Every life has value. Human, Zalathi, or any other species. When someone calls for help, you answer. When someone is in trouble, you help them. It's not complicated. The Zalathi exchanged glances. Sarah realized this concept was not universal. Other species might help their allies or trading partners, but help complete strangers at great personal risk. That was apparently unusual. Tell us about the Hive, Sarah said. How long have they been attacking your people? Admiral Kethra's expression darkened. They have consumed worlds for over 1,000 years. They are not like us. They are one mind controlling millions of bodies. They do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They consume everything in their path. But you've been fighting them, fighting and losing. They adapt to our tactics. They learn from every battle. They grow stronger while we grow weaker. Dr. Park spoke up from across the table. Are they really all one mind? Yes. Every bioship, every creature connected to the central consciousness. It is their greatest strength and their greatest weakness. Sarah understood immediately. That's why cutting off the command ships worked. Disrupt the network and the individual parts don't know what to do. Exactly. But no one has ever been able to exploit this weakness before. The command ships are too well protected. Because everyone fights them the way they expect to be fought, said Harrison. But we don't follow their rules. Admiral Kethra leaned back in her chair. Your species is very young, yes? You have not been traveling between stars for long. About 50 years, Sarah confirmed. Why? Most species learn caution as they grow older. They learn that helping strangers is dangerous. They learn to protect their own interests first. But you still fight like you believe the universe can be made better. Sarah felt a strange sadness at those words. Is that what happens? Species stop helping each other? Usually, yes. Survival becomes more important than honor. Resources become more important than lives. It is the way of the galaxy. Not for humans, Sarah said firmly. We'll never stop helping people who need it. The Zalathi officers looked at each other again. Sarah realized they were having a conversation with their eyes, some kind of silent communication. What is your home like? Asked Admiral Kethra. Sarah smiled. Earth is a beautiful world. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. We have many different peoples and cultures, but we all share one thing. We believe that everyone deserves to be safe and free. And your government sent you to help us? Actually, no. They don't even know we're here yet. I made the decision to come. This caused quite a stir among the Zalathi. They spoke rapidly in their own language, all their arms moving in agitation. You came without orders? Asked Admiral Kethra. Without official approval? People were dying. I couldn't wait for permission to help them. But what if your government disapproves? What if you are punished? Sarah shrugged. Then I'll be punished. But 50,000 people will be alive. The Zalathi sat in stunned silence for several minutes. Finally, Admiral Kethra spoke. Captain Chen, in all my years of military service, I have never met anyone like you. Your species is either the bravest in the galaxy or the most foolish. Maybe both, Sarah admitted with a laugh. There is something you should know, said Admiral Kethra. The hive will return. They always return. What you did today was magnificent, but it was only a temporary victory. Then we'll fight them again. But you are only one ship. The hive has thousands. Sarah looked around the table at her officers, then at the alien admiral who was quickly becoming a friend. Maybe one ship today, but perhaps not tomorrow. Admiral, would you be interested in an alliance? Admiral Kethra's eyes widened. An alliance between our species? Why not? We both believe in protecting innocent people. We both hate bullies who pick on those weaker than themselves. We both think the hive needs to be stopped. But your government will understand when I explain it to them. Earth has many problems, but a lack of courage isn't one of them. When they learn about the hive, when they hear about what happened here, they'll want to help. Admiral Kethra stood up and performed another formal gesture. Captain Sarah Chen, I would be honored to ally with humanity. You have shown us something we thought was lost in the galaxy. You have shown us that there are still species who fight for what is right, not just what is profitable. Sarah stood as well and extended her hand. Admiral Kethra looked at it curiously, then reached out with one of her forearms. Their hands met in the first handshake between human and Zalathi. Partners then, Sarah said. Partners, agreed Admiral Kethra, and may the hive learn to fear what we can accomplish together. 3 days after the battle, Captain Sarah Chen floated in the medical bay of Kepler Station, surrounded by humans and Zalathi working side by side. Her left arm was in a cast from when a console had exploded during the fighting. Dr. Park moved between beds, treating injured crew members while Zalathi doctors shared their knowledge of alien biology. The sight still amazed Sarah. Humans and aliens working together, as if they had been friends for years. Language barriers melted away when people focused on healing instead of differences. Captain, you have visitors, said Dr. Park, nodding toward the entrance. Admiral Kethra entered with 2 young Zalathi. One was barely more than a child, small even by Zalathi standards, with bright silver markings that indicated she was very young. Captain Chen, said Admiral Kethra, I would like you to meet Silara and her brother Nexim. Their family lived in the outer ring that the hive breached. Sarah looked at the young Zalathi with understanding. Your parents? The older brother, Nexim, spoke in broken English. He had been learning human language from the computer systems. Parents has gone. Hive took them. But humans saved us. Saved everyone in our section. The little girl Silara stepped forward shyly. In her small forearms she held something that looked like a flower made from metal and crystal. She offered it to Sarah with a formal bow. She made this for you, Admiral Kethra translated. It is called a gratitude bloom. Our children make them for heroes. Sarah accepted the gift carefully. It was beautiful, intricate, and obviously made with great care. Thank you, Silara. It's wonderful. The little girl smiled, showing teeth that were sharp but somehow still innocent. She said something in Zalathi that made Admiral Kethra laugh. She says you fight like the monsters in her storybooks. The good monsters who protect everyone. Sarah grinned. I've been called worse things. As the children left with promises to visit again, Admiral Kethra remained behind. Her expression was serious. We need to talk, Captain. About the future. They found a quiet corner of the station's observation deck. Through the transparent walls, they could see both human and Zalathi ships working together to repair damage. Rescue shuttles still moved between the wrecks, searching for survivors. The Hive will send scouts, Admiral Kethra said. They will want to know how their attack failed. When they learn about humans, they will adjust their tactics. Sarah nodded. She had expected this. How long do we have? Months, maybe a year. But they will return with more ships. Many more. Then we'd better be ready for them. Admiral Kethra's 4 eyes focused on Sarah. Your ship is badly damaged. My fleet lost 6 vessels. We cannot win a larger battle with what we have now. No, Sarah agreed, but we won't be fighting alone next time. She pulled up a holographic display showing local star charts. Human colony worlds glowed blue, while Zalathi systems appeared in silver. The 2 civilizations were scattered across hundreds of light years, but they were closer than either had realized. Admiral, what if I told you that humans have been looking for friends among the stars for 50 years? What if I told you that Earth has been preparing for exactly this kind of threat? I would say that sounds too good to be true, Sarah smiled. 3 days ago, you would have said the same thing about a human battleship appearing from nowhere to help strangers. She touched the display, highlighting supply routes and strategic positions. Earth has been building ships and training crews for decades. We've always known that space was dangerous. We just didn't know what we were preparing to fight. Your government will approve of an alliance. My government loves democracy, freedom, and protecting innocent people. When they learn about the Hive, they'll want to help. When they meet the Zalathi, they'll want to be friends. Admiral Kethra studied the star chart. Your worlds are rich in resources we need. Our technology is more advanced in some areas than yours. We could help each other. Exactly. And together we can make the Hive pay for what they've done. They spent the next several hours planning. Trade routes, communication networks, joint military exercises. The foundation of an alliance that could change both civilizations. A young human ensign approached them nervously. Captain Chen, we're getting a transmission from Earth Command. They want to speak with you immediately. Sarah sighed. She had been expecting this call. News of first contact would have reached Earth by now. Her decision to help the Zalathi without authorization had probably caused quite a stir. Put them through to the private communication room. Admiral Kethra stood to leave, but Sarah stopped her. Stay. You should hear this too. The communication room's large screen flickered to life, showing the serious face of Admiral Morrison, Earth's Chief of Naval Operations. His expression was unreadable. Captain Chen, you have caused quite a sensation here on Earth. Yes, sir. I can explain my decisions. I'm sure you can. But first I want to know about our new friends. Sarah blinked in surprise. That was not the reaction she had expected. Admiral Morrison's stern expression broke into a slight smile. Captain, when your preliminary report reached Earth 3 days ago, the entire planet went crazy. First contact with a friendly alien species, a successful battle against a hostile force, the rescue of 50,000 innocent civilians. The President has been getting calls from every nation on Earth. Sir, I acted without orders. I know that violated protocol. Captain Chen, you did exactly what any good human should do. You helped people who needed help. The only thing that surprises anyone here is that you seem surprised by our reaction. Admiral Kethra stepped forward. Admiral Morrison, I am Admiral Kethra of the Zalathi Defense Corps. Captain Chen saved my people. All of my people. Admiral Kethra, it's an honor to meet you. Earth would like to formally propose an alliance between our species. Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. Earth was not angry about her decision. They were proud of it. There's more, continued Admiral Morrison. Captain, how would you feel about commanding a joint task force? Human and Zalathi ships working together to fight the Hive? I'd be honored, sir. Good, because we're sending you 40 ships from the home fleet. Admiral Kethra, how many vessels can your people contribute? Admiral Kethra's eyes widened. 40 ships, we could match that number. But Admiral Morrison, are you certain Earth wishes to fight our war? Admiral, with respect, This stopped being your war the moment the Hive decided to attack innocent people. Earth has a simple policy. Bullies need to be stopped. Over the next hour, they planned the formation of the first joint human Zalathi fleet. Ships would be exchanged for training purposes. Officers would serve on each other's vessels. Technology would be shared for the common defense. When the call ended, Admiral Kethra sat in stunned silence. "This is really happening," she said finally. "An alliance between our species." "The first of many, I hope," Sarah replied. "The galaxy is a big place. There must be other species out there who believe in helping each other." "Perhaps, but for now we have each other." Sarah looked out at the stars, thinking about the future. The Hive would return, probably with more ships than either species had ever seen. But they would not be facing humans alone or Zalathi alone. They would be facing something new in the galaxy. They would be facing allies. A month later, Sarah stood on the bridge of her new flagship, watching human and Zalathi ships practice combat maneuvers together. The formations were rough but improving every day. The crews were learning each other's languages and customs. Lieutenant Rodriguez looked up from his station. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the outer system. It's another distress call." Sarah felt her heart rate increase. "Unknown species?" "Yes, ma'am. And they're under attack by bioships." Sarah looked at Admiral Kethra, who had been working at the navigation station. The Zalathi admiral smiled, showing those sharp teeth that Sarah had learned meant determination, not threat. "Well, Captain Chen, shall we go introduce another species to the Alliance?" Sarah grinned and turned to the helm officer. "Set course for the distress signal. Maximum speed, and send a message to the unknown ship." "What should it say, Captain?" "Tell them what someone told us a month ago. Tell them we hear you. We are coming. Hold on." The joint fleet turned as one and jumped to hyperspace, carrying the promise that no one in the galaxy would ever fight alone again. Behind them, Kepler Station gleamed in the light of its dying star, rebuilt and stronger than ever. And in the medical bay, a small Zalathi girl named Silara worked on another gratitude bloom, this one for all the humans who had taught her people that the universe still contained heroes.